Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. This reading is a new monthly focus that I'm doing on a specific aspect of the astrological chart. This month I am looking at Lilith and where your placement of Lilith falls within your chart and what that placement may be bringing up for you. Now, this particular intro I will use at the start of every sign. I'm going to do a tarot reading for each sign, and I'm just going to pop this intro in at the beginning of each of those readings so that I don't have to record it 12 times. So if you're coming to this reading, you can be coming to it because of your sun, moon, or rising placement. But it might be worth your while to look at where Lilith is placed in your chart, where it is placed in which house, and also within which sign, because that will give you some sort of information as to how it may affect you in your personal life. Now, if you're looking for Lilith, it is the moon, like a crescent moon with a little cross on the top, and it's spelled Lilith, Lilith. Now, to give you a bit of context as to who Lilith is, she's different things, potentially different religions, different mythologies, different in astrology as well. So I'm going to give you those and it will give you a bit of a sense of who she is and how it may affect you. So first of all, in Judaism, she was the first wife of Adam. She wouldn't submit to Adam. She was wild. She was an instinctive feminine. She stood in her truth. She stood in her sovereignty. And as I said, she wouldn't submit to him. And so she was turfed out of the Garden of Eden. Lilith placements in your chart trigger feelings of exclusion, abandonment, unhealed feelings of those things. Lilith is the shadow. It's the feminine energy. Now, male or female, everyone carries feminine energy. It is the feminine energy, the more primal, dark aspects of the feminine energy. The independence, the refusal to conform, and the true secret desires to avoid criticism and rejection. So as I said, Lilith was excluded. So it's the patterns in your life, the things that have happened to you that trigger you because of wounds of exclusion. It's reinforced at the moment because we have Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto is transformation. Aquarius is the rebel. Aquarius is strong warrior energy. She demands social inclusion. Aquarius demands social inclusion. So Lilith is being triggered by being left out, and Aquarius, which is what we're in at the moment for the next 20 years actually, demands inclusion and will fight for it. So that's in Judaism. In Greek mythology, Lilith was known as Medusa. Those fiery snakes coming out of her head. Lilith is 0 to 100. The things that you are triggered by that take you from 0 to 100, especially if you are unhealed. If you haven't looked at that shadow aspect of where that Lilith is placed in your birth chart. Lilith is explosive. At the moment, we also have at play, we've got Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is earthquakes. Uranus is explosive, things that are explosive, things that take you from 0 to 100. Now, to put things further into perspective for you, Uranus is in Taurus. It will be there from the 1st of June this year, which is yesterday when it went in there, until the 1st of July 2031. It's in Taurus for 7 years. The last time Uranus was in Taurus was in World War II. The beginning of World War II, 6 months into World War II. The other thing that's at play at the moment, and the reason why I'm doing this reading specifically this month, because I was hearing the words off with her head. Now, when I went to light the match for this reading, and I used the red heads, this particular match had no head, off with her head. So we think of Medusa, off with her head. Anger, 0 to 100. We also think of the star Algol, Algol is I think how it's spelt. Now, Algol is what's known as a demonic star. It symbolizes beheading and losing control. Lilith, Medusa. That particular star was at play, was aspecting when Pearl Harbor was bombed. Algol is actually also at play. It's aspecting the upcoming new moon, which I think is on the 5th and the 6th. The other thing it's aspecting is the chart of Israel. It's aspecting the chart of Israel, Israel's sun. So when we think about all of the things that are happening, and this is not a political statement, but all of the things that are happening currently in the Middle East, and with reference back to wounds that have been triggered in regards to exclusion, things that have happened in the past in regards to exclusion. So if you think about Israel, you think about the Holocaust. Algol is aspecting Israel currently in the coming week. We also have Uranus, which is earthquakes, spiritual earthquakes, actual earthquakes in play with this Lilith, Algol, Medusa energy, all that. It's like a big boiling pot. And so what's happening out on the global stage is also happening on a personal stage as well, which is why I want to look into it. So as I said, if you find where your Lilith is in your chart, you can watch those readings. Otherwise, you can watch it for your sun, moon, rising. So I'll leave it there, and I will see you in your specific reading. Okay, or Virgo Lilith, welcome to your reading. Now, you can be watching this because you have a Lilith placement in Virgo, or you could be a Virgo sun, moon, or rising. So let's have a look first at your placement and what it means to have Lilith in Virgo. So Virgo, you are controlled, ordered, and you are a perfectionist. You thrive on perfection. You are effortlessly organized. You are very, very disciplined, and you are a hard worker. And these are traits that I understand because I actually have a lot of Virgo in my chart, so I can resonate with this. With a Lilith placement in Virgo, it's the shadow side of that perfectionism, and it's driven by a fear of not being accepted. Something in your past has been the catalyst for this fear. And perhaps you want to control everything in order to be accepted. Perhaps in your past you have been in a situation where you have been out of control, and that has led to you being rejected or shunned or not accepted. And so your default is, if I have everything in control, it will control my inclusion in things. Now, part of the healing of this Lilith placement in Virgo is that love relationships with people aren't perfect, and you have to relax and release control, because your being accepted, your being included, doesn't revolve around how much control, how perfect you make things. Now, I will give you an example of that, and some people can pick up on that information and go, yep, I can align it. Other people like examples. So for me, an example of that is I've got grown-up children now, but when one of my children was in primary school, they had very, very serious anaphylactic allergies, which meant that because most celebrations at school, even birthday parties that are outside of school, revolve around food, and because they had such severe allergies, they were excluded from all of those things. Even by people that were their close friends, they were always on the out through no fault of their own, but purely from a safety perspective, they were excluded. Now, the Virgo in me, the crazy Virgo in me, would then speak to the teacher or speak to the parent of a child who said, oh, really sorry, but, I don't know how to cater for your child. And I would say, well, that's okay. I can create. Please just tell me what's on the menu for the birthday party or what's on the menu for the school celebration, and I will just make individual serve of each of those things and put in a little lunchbox for my child so that they didn't feel like they were excluded. That's an example of that Virgo shadow side Now, I don't have a Virgo Lilith, but I do understand that sense of being overly controlling because you don't want somebody to be left out. And that is what this Virgo placement is. It's something that triggers you so much that you have to go into supersonic control perfectionist mode so that you don't feel left out. Potentially it's when you go into that control mode and something happens, because life happens, and something doesn't go the way that it's planned or the way that you planned it in your plan of how things were going to work out, and it triggers you. Okay, let's get some cards. That was the Six of Cups wanted to pop out, which is things from your past. Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is all that planning and preparation. Moon in Sagittarius. All that planning and preparation, only to find out that things don't go the way that you wanted them to go, the way that you planned them, and so you get triggered and you go from 0 to 100. That shadow Lilith comes out in you because maybe you were hoping that whatever you'd planned was going to go a certain way so that you would be included, but life happened and things changed, and now you feel like you're going to be left out. Look at him. Head down, head on knees, sad. Sad about all the effort that you put in and it didn't work out the way that you thought. And it has to do, because that Six of Cups, why did I say Six of Wands? Victory after a long battle. That Six of Cups wanted to come out. It's that nostalgia, that something from your past. Is something from your past underneath the Moon card. Something from your past is coming up from the depths. The Moon is Pisces and Neptune. Neptune is the bottom of the ocean. Something that you need to heal is coming up, and it's triggering this response in you. Now, when I was doing the pre-shuffle for your reading, I was hearing, I think it's Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson song, All I want to say is they don't really care about us. That line, and it just kept repeating over and over and over. So that may resonate with you. All I want to say is they don't really care about us. Us. Maybe you were part of a group of people that were rejected, abandoned. Three of Swords. I don't actually know what that song pertains to, and I didn't look it up. Sometimes I don't, because if you go further into a song, sometimes it's just about the single line that I'm given as opposed to the whole song. But if it resonates with you, perhaps look deeper into the meaning of that song. Three of Swords, some sort of heartbreak from your past. Now, the Three of Swords is Saturn in Libra. Saturn is karmic lessons. Libra is balance. Some sort of two truths and a lie. Some sort of heartache from your past where you felt left out, abandoned, that drives you to stick up for yourself, to get really angry and stick up for yourself when those sorts of feelings, those sorts of energies rear their ugly heads, is what I want to say. Interesting. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say it. So the last couple, my kids are at university. The last couple of weeks, I've been watching the dynamics of some of the groups of students on campuses around the universities in my town. Now, obviously in Australia, it's fairly tame in comparison to some of the demonstrations that have happened around the world, specifically in America. But what I have noticed is that there are groups of people aligning with causes that they aren't necessarily associated with, and for all the wrong reasons, because they don't really care about us. And it is very Pluto and Aquarius, which is this 20-year transit that's happening at the moment. Think of the French Revolution. I think I said that in the intro. Think of the French Revolution. It's the people versus the power. Perhaps you are heavily controlled in your childhood, which means that you are doing the same in your adult life in order to not feel abandoned. But yeah, there's something here about us as in a community, a group of people. I watched some of the talks at one of the universities here, and there was a young Palestinian girl from Gaza. Her family was in Gaza. She'd left, and one of the encampments here, they were trying to control. Now, when I think of Virgo, I think control. They were trying to control the narrative. This particular group of people that were leading one of the encampments, they had an agenda. And now I understand why it's coming. They had an agenda of how they wanted it to be, because maybe they were feeling from their past, they were resonating with the plight of the Palestinian people because they were ostracized maybe, or left defenseless in their past. So they were resonating. And this young Palestinian girl, when this group of people was actually going and putting their lists of requirements of what they wanted the university to do for them, to divest in, the information that they wanted from the university in terms of its association with certain organizations that were, this young Palestinian girl, well, she was a university student. She wasn't young at all. She'd probably seen more in her lifetime than half the people that were stood in that group of 1,500 people. But she actually raised her hand and said, I don't think that this particular tract that you're going on, this particular dialogue that you're going on, is in line with what the Palestinian people would be wanting or thinking. I think it's almost off on somebody else's agenda. And there was arguments that happened between those people. So you've got a sense of a group of people being so controlling and so single-minded about what they want and not actually listening to anybody else. And that's where you go from 0 to 100. When in actual fact, the young Palestinian girl, to me, had more say than anybody else in what was being spoken about, because she lived it. 2 truths and a lie. They don't really care about us, but people banding together from a communal sense of abandonment and exclusion for multiple different reasons. And you've almost got to get to the crux of what it is that's creating that control in order to release it. Interesting. These readings have actually been really interesting. Page of Wands. Page of Wands is the little explorer. Saturn and Sagittarius. Page of Wands is opening up the bonnet of the car. If you can hear that there's some sort of ticking noise, if you don't just keep driving it. If you know you're going from 0 to 100, if you know that something is triggering you, if you know that by not getting what you want and controlling the outcome or perfecting it is just spiraling you into this world of, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not getting the outcome that I want. It's because you need to look under the bonnet and recognize what's actually got you in that almost single-minded focus. What had these people in this focus that they were there for a free Palestine encampment, but yet they weren't listening to the girl that was from Palestine? Page of Wands. Having a look under the bonnet and seeing what is driving you and why it's driving you. What is it that's triggering you? Three of Pentacles is working together. Mars in Capricorn. Building a new foundation. Mars in Capricorn, I think Mars is that fire energy, that Medusa energy. Capricorn is also a stubbornness to not look under the bonnet and see. If I go back to that car analogy, I mean, you can put all the bits and pieces on your car and you can look the part. You can perfect your car, the right, amazing tires and fine tune every detail of it. But if you're not putting the right petrol in it, what's the point? It's not going to go anywhere. The world, it's part of a lesson. The world is Saturn, part of a lesson that you are meant to be on in this lifetime, to actually take a look under your bonnet and see with this Virgo Lilith what it is that you are trying to control. What are you trying to be a perfectionist at? How are you being overly organized in order to control an outcome. And then why is it that when that outcome doesn't happen, you get triggered? To the point where you can be domineering, which is what those people were to this girl. Domineering, because it's stemming from a fear of not being accepted. Nine of Wands. The Magician. There's a trickery here. The Magician is Mercury, but the communication with yourself is if I have everything in control, if everything's organized, if everything is organized and everything is planned, then I'll get the outcome that I desire. It's a trick. It's an illusion that you've created to try and protect yourself from being left out. And it needs to be healed. Eight of Wands. Mercury in Sagittarius. As I said, Magician is Mercury. Communication, Mercury in Sagittarius. The Temperance card, which is the angel of balance, is going with the flow. The healing statement for Lilith in Virgo is nothing is perfect. Relax and release control. King of Wands. This card for me is the Sun in Aries, but often it comes across as, and actually here we go. We've got the King of Wands here, but the Page of Wands here. So the King of Wands sometimes for me is all the gear but no idea. You've got this bright, shiny car. It's got all the bits and pieces that go on it, but you've either got no idea how to drive it or you're not putting the right fuel in it. Page of Wands, sitting under the Page of Wands. That's an immaturity here. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that there's an immaturity. It's because you've got an unhealed wound. You need to go back to the baby level of this wound and work out what it is. And then you can drive the car. It's like those groups of men in their 50s that you see with their brand new bikes and all their Lycra. They've got all the gear and they're riding in big mobs on a Sunday morning down the road. They've got all the gear, but they haven't ridden a bike in 20 years. And so a kilometre down the road, they're literally wanting to turn around and go home. There's some work that needs to be done. Yeah, some balance. Two of Pentacles is balance. You need to balance out this Libra. Otherwise, you are going to work yourself with your perfectionist nature. You are going to work yourself into a stupor and become unhinged. Two of Pentacles is balance. Become unhinged. Two of Pentacles, this is also the infinity sign. Round and round and round. Doing the same thing, repeating over and over and over. If I just get it more fine-tuned the next time. This guy on the bike. Maybe if I wear the red Lycra tomorrow, I'll be able to keep up. No, you actually need to do the work. Knight of Pentacles, I was going to say. Knight of Pentacles is a slow-moving knight. Somebody that puts in the work. Knight of Cups is the moon in Scorpio. The moon is what's hidden. Neptune, what you need to go down. Knight of Swords. What you need to go down to in the depths of what's triggering you from early in your life. Some sort of wound that's triggering you. Knight of Swords is the truth. And that was a horn. That's the truth. That would be some kid who's not my kid. Most definitely. Actually, that's the motorists on the road when you get those big packs of 50-year-old cyclists who don't actually have any road etiquette because even though they look the part, they are, Knight of Cups. Putting into yourself. Knight of Cups is the moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is death and rebirth. There's no point in looking the part if you haven't done the underneath work because you're just going to keep getting triggered and triggered and triggered. Let's have a look. Eight of Cups on the bottom. Needing to walk away from this control aspect. And now we have the Knight of Pentacles. I knew it was going to come out. Knight of Pentacles, putting in the work. Hermit, going into Hermit mode is Dark Night of the Soul. Now, Hermit is Virgo, which is this particular reading. Going in and doing the work. The Hermit is Chiron, also a wounded warrior. Where are your wounds from the past? And what are they triggering? Going in and doing the work to heal them. Four of Pentacles is miser energy. It's fear also. Four of Pentacles is the Sun in Capricorn. I was going to say it's stubborn. Capricorn sometimes can be very stubborn. The Emperor. When I think about that Emperor, I think about the Emperor's new clothes. You think of all the time and effort that he took getting those tailors, if you know that story, getting those tailors to spin this beautiful silk to make him these outfits. And then he walked proudly and he'd organized all the people out on the road to come and watch him walk down the road in his beautiful new garments that had been spun, because he wanted everybody to love him. This guy on the bike with this new outfit. Everything is the part. I'll control everything. And then he walks down the street. It's actually in the nude, because these magicians, these trickster energies, these illusionists spun him a lie. I think of, when I was creating all those beautiful meals for my child to eat so that she was included at school or included at birthday parties. The young kids are filthy, messy eaters. She still had to sit away from them, even though I created, and I would get so cross because it didn't matter what I did. There was still that sense of her not being accepted. It's about going in and, doing the work. What is it that you are controlling? Well, it wants to come out. Eight of Pentacles, doing the work. What is it that you are controlling? Chariot. So laser focused on controlling the outcome. The Chariot is Cancer. It's the moon. So laser focused on controlling the outcome that you're failing to see the reason why you are being so controlling. Temperance angel. We had Temperance here. That balance that you need, the lessons that you need to learn. Okay, let's have a look at what you need to release. This is my Nodes of Destiny deck. It may give you some insight into what you need to release. Currently, and I only wanted two, and that's perfect. Currently, the North Node is in Aries. It's where we are headed. And the South Node is in Libra. These are things that you are releasing, potentially with Libra is your relationships, with people, relationships maybe that you've had in the past that have put you into this controlling mindset because of a fear of being excluded. It is the Nodes of Destiny. So the point in your chart where you need to do some work. So the South Node is what you are releasing, the North Node, and we've got two North Nodes. The North Node is where you are headed. North Node in Pisces. Pisces North Nodes add a dash of caring energy and gut feelings to the galactic gathering. Imagine your North Node as a mystical map guiding you to where you can boost your skills, unveiling hidden lessons, which is what we're talking about. If you are feeling all over the place with tasks, it might just be that the universe is whispering for you to unleash your creative wizardry. So being so laser focused on trying to make everything perfect. North Node in the third house. If your North Node swings by the third house, you might be a bit snug in your familiar ways. Perfectionism. Missing out on the thrill of a new perspective. But hey, no need to panic. Dive into fresh ideas and explore all angles and surprise yourself with hidden talents like becoming a wordsmith extraordinaire or a wise educator. Now, that suggests to me that part of your healing journey is that you can impart that wisdom onto other people. Maybe once you have a look at where I wanted to say Chiron, where your Lilith placement is. Chiron may also be important. Chiron is your wounded healer. It's the circle with a K on it. Where your Lilith placement is, once you've done some work on it and somebody says, hey, I've noticed that you're not so controlling anymore. Maybe in a workplace, you are super controlling. Maybe in a relationship, you are super controlling. a bit of a perfectionist. Maybe you don't want anybody else to do anything because you want to control the outcome. Maybe people start to notice, oh, you're a bit more go with the flow. You're a bit more lax. Why is that? And then you can say, well, I had a look at my Lilith placement and I realized why I was so controlling. And it makes sense. So now I am able to just relax a bit. And then that person might go, well, I might have a look at where my Lilith is. So you then act as a wise educator for somebody else. A wise educator, if you're a parent and you've got children, you can look at where your children's placements are, and maybe it stops some of the arguments that happen in your household. If you look at where your parents are, or your sisters, or somebody at work, people that you would know there, not that you should be looking at somebody else's birth chart, but that you would be familiar enough with that you could work out where their Lilith is in order to try and mend and heal a relationship that you have with them. Divine intervention. Trapped. Healing a relationship with yourself so that you can help other people around you with this wise educator. Divine timing was all part of the plan. And death and rebirth. Now, what I will say to you is, now, as I said, my Lilith isn't in Virgo, but I have somebody within my family at the moment that is in a phase of being very triggered by things that are happening. And that's everybody in life. Everybody gets triggered. I was a bit perplexed as to what was happening. Now, I've realized by looking at their Lilith placement, why they are acting the way that they are acting. And it changes how I then interact with that person. I am interacting now in a way of trying not to trigger that. And at some point, potentially, will be a wise educator in terms of why that person is acting that way, helping them understand where that trigger is and why it's happening. And interestingly, the last couple of days, and you may be getting hints on this, the last couple of days before this reading, I think I said it in the intro, I'd been hearing Off With Her Head, which is from Alice in Wonderland. And it was not in reference to some interactions that I was having, but I was picking up on that energy because there were things happening within my personal life where people were losing their heads, really, really angry, going from 0 to 100. Divine intervention. I was meant to do these Lilith readings now so that I could, for me personally, so that I could understand why, and I do now, why that person is being triggered. Past life. Perhaps it's something that has been rolled over from a past life and partnership. A partnership with somebody, some sort of soul contract with somebody from your past life that's rolling over into this life, that lesson will repeat until you are doing the work. You are already doing it. So if you're picking up on things in this reading, if you're going ding, 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 yep, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense, it's because you are already doing it. You're already intuitively, and maybe you didn't recognize or didn't know where your placement was for Lilith. And you can go, okay, I get it now. And it's because you've already started that working journey on your Lilith placement. Let's have a look. This is my Moon Oracle deck. Waxing like a Cheshire cat. How funny. I was just talking about Alice in Wonderland. Waxing like a Cheshire cat. The moon whispers, believe in your wildest dreams. You can have what you want, but you don't have to do it with such perfectionism and control. And that's not to say that you can't, if somebody told me that I couldn't be a perfectionist, I would tell them to go jump in the lake, because that's just part of who I am. But it's the reason behind the perfectionism that is what needs to be worked on. Because it's one thing to be very, very controlled and like things a certain way, but if you're doing it because of a fear of abandonment or rejection, then that's a different story. So let's look at what angel is guiding you at this particular time. 3-3. Yahuwah discovers enemies. That's the enemy within yourself. That is your shadow self. What is triggering you? Because we can be our own worst enemies. Cartel delivers divine blessings against evil. $62. A heal. Wisdom and philosophy. Maybe there's somebody in and around you that is actually playing on this trickster energy, that is actually playing on the fact that you are a perfectionist. Delivers divine blessings against evil. Using your fear of rejection or fear of being left out to their advantage by having you do all the work, because they know, because you're a perfectionist, like things organized, that you're going to do it much better than them. That's terrible. So they're abusing their power. 54, mercy, Nithael. And on the bottom, we have 36, Menadel, protects your employment and preserves your livelihood. That's what I was just talking about. There's something within here about somebody in power using you because of your attention to detail. They're using you for their advantage, knowing full well that you can't say no because they're your boss. Terrible. That's terrible. Well, I'll tell you how you deal with that. You actually heal your black moon, Lilith, because power, knowledge is power. Wisdom and philosophy. Knowledge is power. Discovers enemies, divine blessings against evil. Knowledge is power. And with power, you can overpower somebody like this. They can't use you anymore if... Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, finally, I've got Scrabble tile letters. This could be your first, middle, last initial, or somebody that you are dealing with. Perhaps it's somebody from your past that fueled this abandonment, exclusion, fear in you, or something else that pertains to this situation. I'm going to call them out, letters and numbers on them. A Y and a 4, an O and a 1, an F and a 4, a W and a 4. I don't know whether you heard, but my little dog who sits on the couch beside me while I do these readings just heaved a big sigh. He's got his eyes closed. He's just heaved a big sigh. He's about to go to sleep. You need, being a control freak is exhausting. You need just to get some rest. Release control and relax. A C and a 3, a U and a 1, a J and an 8, a D. I'm going to put that there. You need some time for you. A D and a 2, a T and a 1, and a B and a 3. So, Virgo, that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. It's been very, very interesting. If you did resonate with this reading, give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I do post regularly. If you are interested in any of my tarot or oracle decks, the links to those can be found in the description box. That's where I'm going to leave you, and hopefully I will see you again in another reading.